the original 13th colony, spreading truth and slaying lies. A one-man gang in a war to restore freedom and liberty. Dan Bidondi.
All right, folks, welcome to this June 9th, 2020 edition of the Dan Bidondi Show right here on 990 WBOB.com Renegade Radio. So it's our second show in the week here. It's awesome, pretty awesome. So to have back-to-back shows. People been tuning in to 990 WBOB here. Frequently see me, and it's like I got a lot of stuff going on. That's why. So hopefully we'll be having more shows here on the network. But Tyler, the last show that was with the Wildside, the last show that was playing, he said it well best. If you've been listening about defunding the police departments, I can't say it any better than that. If those of you tuned into the show before me, called The Wild Side with Tyler, and I can't say it any better. But that's what the subject's going to be today, is defunding the police. And this is going to bring lawlessness. I mean, we got Sheriff Richard Mack from Arizona. He's going to be joining us shortly. He leads the CSPOA. It's an organization.org, by the way. It's an organization of sheriffs and police chiefs around the country who took a sworn oath to defend the Second Amendment and our civil liberties. You know what I mean? So these are real law enforcement. And so I just want to talk about law enforcement in general, man, and what's been going on here in Rhode Island. So the story is, it's actually hitting national media, a donut place in North Kingston, Rhode Island called Allie's Donuts. The owner decides on the 76th anniversary of D-Day, decides to say, hey, I'm going to post on my Instagram to defund, cut the discounts of military and police, veterans and police. Now, first of all, what has the veterans got to do with any of this? And he was using it to say, because we have injustice in this country, basically it's an attack on the police department. It's exactly what it is. And he drags the veterans into this. So he's not the only one, because other people are doing the same now. So now all of a sudden the poor veterans dragged into this. So anyway, he decides on D-Day, the anniversary, 76th anniversary, which was last Saturday, June 6th, decides to do this. So I got on there Sunday with my camera, and oh man, did I let loose on him. So I'm confronting him and everything else, and I said, you got a hell of a nerve to do that, because you're picking out all the blacks who also served this country. You know how many blacks stormed Normandy? How many lost their lives? So you're sitting there to say, the veterans, how many black people serve this country? A good portion. I know 2 black people who were in the National Guard. They risk their lives every year when they go overseas once a year. So don't say the veterans. The veterans have nothing to do with this. Then the cops, okay, the police departments. Yeah, we got bad apples in the police departments, but when you look at the stats, it's really is not as bad as the mainstream media makes it look out to be. Yeah, it's absolutely bad, people getting killed a year. But let's go through the stats, you know what I mean? And we got 2017, 18, 19, so far 2020, more whites have been killed by cops. But I understand per capita, yes. When you do it per capita, you'll see that the whites and blacks are about the same, being gunned down by bad cops. But they don't tell you, they will never highlight the story that that black cop killed a white guy, or that black cop killed a black guy. They would never pick that up in the national media. They'll wait for that one incident when a white cop wrongfully kills a black guy, and that'll blow up. Just to cause race baiting. And I'm not justifying it, and my hearts and prayers to George Floyd. That poor guy should have never suffered that. But however, we can't shut down all the police departments for this. I mean, here's my solution, okay? For people out there, Black Lives Matter and everything else, here's my solution. All right, instead of defunding the police departments, instead of burning down your own towns and everything, where your own friends, families, and neighbors shop there and work there, and you feed your kids because you go to these places to do that. So how are you going to go feed your kids and your friends, families, and neighbors, go get jobs and work and shop and everything if you burn the place down? Here's my solution. Let's not defund the police departments. They're already underfunded. How about this? Check this out, right? How about put your money where your mouth is? Put your action into work. And I highly encourage you to do this, okay? Check this out. So if we got 5 of you, just 5 of you in your community decide, all right, I'm going to become a police officer. So you got 5 good people that become police officers. What does that mean? 5 less bad people, police officers. You get what I'm saying? So 5 of you to say, all right, well, I'm going to run for city council in my district. I'm going to run for state rep, state senator, and all that. You guys get in office. Guess what? Do the math again. 5 good people in office and 5 less bad people in office. Now you made the change. And as you're a police officer, you have the ability to stop bad cops. And the more good cops, the less bad cops. So basically, if your whole community says, all right, we all want to become cops, right? And just say they select a bunch of you to become police officers. Now you know, okay, you can protect your community and there's no corruption because you're running the show. That's how you make change. You don't burn the places down. That's not going to do nothing. All that's going to affect is your families because regardless what happens, guys, the cops are still putting their boots on the next morning. You are not affecting them. They're still going to work. You're not. Because you just burned your own place down. You know what I mean? So you people are smarter than this, okay? You're better than this. This ain't the barbarian days where you just burn the whole place down and then people will bring up the Tea Party. No, the Boston Tea Party wasn't like you think. They didn't loot and steal and everything, burn things down like you think. They attacked a certain criteria, a certain area for a reason. If you actually go do the study, it wasn't just random people randomly burning things. No, that's not how it went. Okay, they took care of the problem. Here in Rhode Island, okay, when the British were oppressing us, we didn't go burn and loot our own cities and stuff. We went to the problem and solved it. We took up bombs and shot the bastards, okay, the British, okay, and we sunk their ship. We didn't go destroy our own towns. And I'm not encouraging you to go pick up bombs and go do that to police either. I'm just saying, okay, you want to make a positive change in your community, what you do is you become police officers yourselves, you become politicians yourself, and there you go, there's the math, okay, more of you, less of them. Plain and simple, because not all cops are bad. And speaking of police officers, good police officers, we got on the phone right now from Arizona, former sheriff Richard Mack. How you doing, brother?
Hey, I'm doing really good, and I hope you are too. And man, is this a strange time in America, and do we have a lot to talk about?
Absolutely, absolutely. And it's insane out there. And the biggest issue is it's like these people want to promote lawlessness, and I'm not talking about the regular people. Yeah, some of them too, but a lot of these politicians, and and you guys out there, you guys are going to become the biggest targets. And my heart and prayers go out to you guys.
Well, yeah, and it's kind of astonishing that the minority groups that hate being painted with a broad brush are painting all the cops with a broad brush.
Yep.
None of this makes any sense. And I would like to ask any of the protesters, what is it that you want? What are you after? You're destroying each other's businesses. You're destroying businesses of good, hardworking black Americans and other minorities as well. And you don't seem to care one iota if they're victimized. I thought you wanted justice. So why are you creating injustice? It looks like to me you don't really want justice. And not only that, for those of you who do want justice, what in the hell do you think justice looks like? The man has been arrested. The cop has been fired. He's been arrested. He's been charged with like 5 or 6 different felonies, and is probably looking at life in prison. And 3 others that watch. And by the way, I have been pushing for that for 20 years. If you're a cop and you stand there and watch another cop commit a crime, you get charged with the exact same thing. And these guys won't get charged with the exact same thing, but I believe any cop that watches a murder or a serious felonious assault should be charged with the same thing. But I still want to ask all the looters and rioters and all the protesters, please tell me, please make it clear what you're after. Because there could be, I ran a jail for 8 years. I was a cop for 20 years. I was a sheriff for 8 years. That's when I ran the jail. And I don't see where there's one iota of justice missing in this case thus far. I mean, if they let him walk from this, then I could see you getting upset. But right now, all the wheels of justice are turning just exactly how they're supposed to.
Absolutely. You're right. And now, what more? I mean, that's my question too. What more do you want? Do you want them to just totally ignore the justice system and just lynch the guy? You know what I mean? I don't get it.
Yeah, exactly. Do you want the guy lynched, or should we go burn his home and burn his family and just kill them all? What? I don't understand what they're after, because there couldn't be any more justice right now at this point. in the process, the wheels of justice are turning, my dear friends. Go home and let's watch it together.
Absolutely. And I don't know if you heard the show in the beginning, I was often saying, you know what, the best alternative is if you know you're a good person out there and you want to make a positive change for your community, don't burn the stuff down or anything. You become a police officer yourself. You become a city councilman or a state rep yourself. You can make that change in a positive way and also be a very big influence on your own community. You could change the world doing this stuff. And so instead of defunding the police, you know what, how about joining the police force? This way you know you're a good cop. You have the ability and power to stop a bad cop. And that's like, you just say 5, you join the police force, that's 5 less bad people in the police force. You know what I mean? And that's the solution. I mean, they're just good people need to get up and do stuff. That's all, you know?
I did hear you say that part, and I totally agree with that. We need to get more involved with solutions that are peaceful and effective. And not only that, have me come and train your police department and sheriff's office. I'll train them in stuff they've never been trained in. And what really bothers me, Dan, is that we have about 1 million police officers in this country, federal, state, and local. And every single one of them, by law, must swear an oath of allegiance to the Constitution. And therein starts the biggest hypocrisy in America, except maybe for the Democrats that call for all these socialistic and communistic reforms.
Yeah.
But it's another huge hypocrisy, because it's impossible to keep an oath to something that you've never read, that you've never studied, and that you don't know the first thing about. And we never train in how we keep our oath. We never even train why we take an oath. And if we, the police and sheriffs of this country, would be true guards of the Republic and protectors of the Constitution and defenders of liberty, we would solve all these problems. But when you don't even know what form of government we have, when you don't even know what your job is as a true peace officer and a protector of the people, if you don't even know what that is, how are you going to know how to do your job? For God's sake.
Exactly.
And so we train the peace officers and sheriffs of this country how to follow the Constitution, how to protect liberty, and understand the Declaration of Independence when it says, quote, that to secure these rights, governments are instituted among men. Well, that's exactly what we are supposed to be doing. We are the boots on the ground protectors of the people to make sure their rights are secured.
Absolutely, and that's what need. I really think I would do the police academy. I think they should have at least a couple of days just to sit there, go through history, so they can clearly absorb this information. And then when you start doing this, you actually start feeling it in your heart and soul, and how important that what you're doing, how important it is, and you're the front line of this protection of the Constitution. Then I think these officers will, I think they would come around big time and say, you know what? I got a very noble job I'm doing, and it's a great responsibility not just to protect my community, but the Constitution and how important our rights are. And if I think you're right, man, if you were able to go out and in your offices, go out and teach the police departments and stuff, and trickle it down to the regular police officers, man, I think it would be a big 180.
I really do too, because patriotism and peacekeeping would be our mantra. And it would be our paramount goal. Instead, what is our paramount goal? Where do cops really learn how to be cops? Why or where do they get the desire to be a cop? I guarantee you it's from television and movies.
Yep.
And any cop who says that isn't true is a liar. That's where we get our desire to be a cop. Where else would we get it? That's our only. Yeah. That's basically our only connection with police in this country, is we grow up watching movies about cops, And so when you get to the police academy, you got to get deprogrammed from that, and you got to get back to being programmed as a true guard of America and our Constitution.
Yeah. I know when I was younger, I wanted to become a police officer. I almost did. And the reason why I wanted to become a police officer, not for any power or anything like that, is because I have a heart that I want to help people. I want to have the ability and authority to help the innocent and be a champion for them and protect the weak and everything. That was my goal of becoming a police officer. So I have the ability to go do these things, you know. And people out there need to understand that. That's the heart of a lot of people. I mean, you're not really getting paid much, but you're going out there risking your life. And any night you could be shot, killed, and you could get a knock at the door. Your wife could get a knock at the door and say, hey, your husband's been shot, you know what I mean, or whatever the case, and died in the line of duty. So it's not about money and power. It's about being able to be like a real-life superhero, so to speak. You know what I mean? And to have the ability and authority to help those innocent people.
Well, you know, and the bottom line, when you're kind of alluding to that, to this point, and that is this. Most of the police officers in this country are good people.
Yes.
I'll be the first one to admit that they haven't been trained properly. And I've been saying that for 25 years. But they're still good people. And to come out and start hurting peace officers or going to their homes and throwing rocks at them and eggs or throwing torches at them or anything else like that, that's just an out and out shame. It's criminal. If we're really trying to bring about positive change in America, it's not going to happen through violence. As a matter of fact, if I could remind everybody who really believes in Martin Luther King, he said hate can never drive out hate. He also said violence multiplies violence. And he was totally against violence. And he did not advocate violence. So why are all these people who say they love Martin Luther King doing exactly the opposite of what he preached? You have to start thinking at that point that there's another ulterior motive afoot here. And none of it's good. And hurting other people because a cop killed a man doesn't make sense at all. And then saying, let's get rid of all police departments. That'll teach them. And that just goes to show that these people who are promoting these protests and riots are anarchists. Because only anarchy supports getting rid of all government. And getting rid of police is a number one protection of the people. None of that makes any sense. Could we do with less police in this country? Yeah, I think so. But to do away with all police? No, I really don't think so. That not only do I not think so, I need to not play that lukewarm there. I think that's a huge mistake. But if we wanted to get back to the sheriffs running all the police action in every county, I think that would be something legitimate to look at because it would save a lot of money, streamlining law enforcement for the entire county with just one agency. But that's not what they're talking about either. But that is what I have talked about for a number of years, and I think that's a legitimate issue. But that's not what they're addressing at this time. And I would like to, if I could talk to somebody about it on the national level, that would pay attention and that would really look at this honestly. I just don't think the people that are doing the rioting have that in mind.
Yeah, I mean, these people, I mean, you even ask them what do you want, they can't tell you. You know what I mean? They just sit there, yell, scream, and swear, and a lot of people are upset, and rightfully so upset, but I mean, again, when it comes down to all this, the only people, like I tell some of these people that were doing this, the only people you're affecting is yourself. You think those police officers, the bad ones, care if you break up your own city? They're still going to work tomorrow. They're putting their boots on. Now, what you just did is you prevented your own friends, families, and neighbors to go shopping tomorrow for food and go to work. That's all you did. And you're not accomplished nothing. And now what's going to happen is if this keeps up and you do defund the police departments and these top Democrats get into power, now you're going to have a bigger situation on the end when they bring in the UN peacekeepers and the military's police state. You think the police state's bad now. You have no idea what's coming after that, man. And again, my solution would be to good people, more good people to become police officers. And I love your idea, too, instead of having all these agencies, why don't we just have a sheriff's department where everybody's held accountable, the sheriff's voted in by the community, and, we don't have conflicting agencies going at it with each other. We have one community polices, and, I mean, that's beautiful.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm all for having oversight for police, but I'm also in favor of that for United States Congress and for the innocent people that get put in prison. Nobody seems to worry about that. The IRS takes people's homes, kicks people out of their houses, completely ruins people in this country. Nobody says anything about that. The abuse of the IRS has been happening for decades, ever since they started. In the 1940s, they went after Joe Louis, heavyweight champion of the world, a real gentleman, a real true American, and he actually joined the Army, and he took the prize fight and the winnings and his money, and he signed it over to the federal government for the war effort, for World War II. And then the IRS went after him to pay taxes on it. They knew darn well that he donated it to the federal government. And because the check was still in his name, they went after him, and they completely ruined this man.
Wow.
They destroyed this man's life. They took every penny he had in savings, all the money he had saved for his children's college funds, and even when his mother died and she left him $600, they took that. And they ended up, when he died, the German that he beat at the beginning of his career, what was it, Smelling? Anyway, I can't remember his name. I think it was Smelling. He paid for Joe Louis's funeral.
Oh, that's nice.
They stayed friends. And yet, nobody says anything about that.
No.
Nobody, and the IRS is colorblind. They go after everybody. They don't care. And they've been used as hitmen for numerous different presidents. Oh, somebody gets after the president, we'll go audit them. And that's another illegal thing that our IRS does.
Yep.
As a matter of routine. Random audits without any probable cause or any presumption of innocence. They just keep going after people however they want. And this is something that no president has ever really addressed. About every 5 or 6 years, they have another dog and pony show about all the abuses of the IRS, but nobody ever does anything about it.
Nope.
And so why is it that we have so many huge injustices in this country, and George Floyd is the only one we address? There's been white people killed by cops.
Yep.
There's so many different injustices of all the innocent people put in prison, but nobody says anything. And so, the 18 young black people that were killed over the weekend in Chicago, no one had a big funeral for them.
And the weekend before that too, there was a big more people shot the weekend before. So 2 weeks in a row in Chicago, how many people got shot and killed? Dozens. No big funerals for them or nothing.
Exactly. And what about the black kid that killed the just recently killed the black captain at the police department?
Yep.
He was in Florida. No one had a parade or rally, protest rally for that good cop.
Well, that black detective, the retired black detective, I think he was 67 years old. He had his own pawn shop and, retired, has his own pawn shop. Looters broke in, and this black gentleman ended up shooting him and killing him, robbing his store and everything. And there's not a whisper in the mainstream media about that.
Yeah, and I'm telling you, it just doesn't look like everything that the protesters are saying they're trying to achieve. It just doesn't look like it. And I want to tell all the rioters, the protesters, the looters, the people who are shocked and appalled about what happened, we are too. Nobody supports what that officer did. Nobody supports the 3 officers standing there watching. Some of them look like they really wanted to say something, but they didn't. And their cowardice has got them charged now.
Yep.
And that idiot officer that stuck his knee in that man's throat and neck, none of us agreed with that. We were horrified by it. We are incensed that this could happen in America. We can be grateful for one thing, that it appears to be isolated. But if we started comparing all the white victims of police abuse in this country, I think the numbers and the percentages would come out pretty much even.
Yeah, as I was doing a study, there was 2017, 18, 19, more whites were killed by cops, but however, you do the per capita with the blacks or whatever, and it's just about even. So, and I was trying to make a point that all of us are equally victims of bad people, you know what I mean? And because evil knows no color, you know, they attack us all.
And what about in Arizona, we just got shocked here by a black highway patrol officer who for years was stopping women and writing them a ticket or telling them he was going to, and then he would trade them not writing the ticket for sex.
Wow.
And he finally just got arrested. Does that mean all black cops should be treated as sexual assaulters,
Nope.
rapists? You know what? That was one bad apple.
Yep.
We didn't disband the highway patrol of the state of Arizona. That man was arrested, and he's in the process of being prosecuted. He has legal counsel, and that's fine because that's his right. And no one, you know what? All of his victims, they didn't call for riots or protests. They called for justice. And you don't need to go riot and protest to ask for justice and demand that it happens. And then let's see how it plays out for all people in this country, for that matter. And look at the barber, the 77-year-old barber in Michigan. He got put in jail just for wanting to open his business.
Yep.
And the governor really went after him. Where was Black Lives Matter and Antifa trying to defend that man's right?
Exactly. They should have been standing in front of the store, you know, protected them. You know, and it's weird because
See, that's the thing. You don't get to pick and choose on liberty or justice.
Yep.
And I don't pick and choose on that. I believe an injustice done to a black is just as bad as an injustice done to a Mexican or a black
Absolutely.
or an Asian or a white or an Indian. I actually don't say Indian anymore, I'm sorry. Native American. It's all the same to me. I don't want an injustice happening to anyone at any time of any race. We're all Americans.
Exactly.
And that's how I feel. And now let me read to you what that judge said. This barber that I was just mentioning, he just won a huge victory, and the Judge Viviano, in a 7-0 unanimous decision by the Michigan State Supreme Court, they said this: it is incumbent on the courts to ensure decisions are made according to the rule of law, not hysteria. One hopes that this great principle, essential to any free society, including ours, will not itself become yet another casualty of COVID-19. God bless Judge Viviano who said that.
Yeah.
And God bless that Supreme Court of Michigan, because they got it right here. And this is the type of justice, and this is the type of principle we all should be adhering to. And this should be on placards, and this should be on our signs, and this should be on our emails and Facebook and Twitter, that this is the way to achieve justice. And my dear friends, hysteria will never be the solution for any of this. And causing chaos and causing hysteria and then trying to make decisions in the middle of all that hysteria will never be productive.
You got that right, and so we got to think smart and do things smart way, because you know, you look to the people in history. Martin Luther King again. I mean, he was very smart, very brilliant man. He was very effective, and the way he did things, it was very peaceful, and he got to the point. He went to the thing is, he didn't go yelling, screaming around in his neighborhoods. He went to the source. He went to D.C., right to the source where the problem was at the time, and did something about it. And, you know, that's what people should. Here's the thing, you know, this shooting happened in Minneapolis. What is the Providence Police got to do with it? What is Los Angeles Police got to do with it? What does the London police got to do with it? How about going to
Well,
Minneapolis and go protest in front of the Minneapolis Police Department? You know what I mean? And so I don't get it.
None of it makes any sense. And
No.
So, obviously, people are going to start filling in the blanks to the question, what is really going on here? And it doesn't smell right. Something's wrong. And
Well, yeah.
when somebody's telling me they're after justice and they're looting and destroying businesses and burning police departments and burning businesses of another black man who's yelling at them at the time.
Yep.
So why are you doing this to me? This is not the answer. This doesn't help anything. And here, a woman got manhandled who was trying to stand in the way of some thugs going there, and they grabbed her and pushed her away and said, "Get out of the way." I guess we should be grateful they didn't want to beat her up and hurt her.
Yeah.
But then there was a white grandma in a wheelchair, and they started beating her up, and she was in a wheelchair. And so you have to ask these people, just really what are you trying to accomplish?
And a lot of these protesters, they were taking videos, like this black lady, she was part of Black Lives Matter. She's filming these white guys in black masks, Antifa, busting up the building, spray painting BLM on the wall. Tell them stop it. They're going to blame us for that. You know what I mean? And tons of these videos pop out. And to be honest, man, and I think you know exactly what this whole plot is about, who's behind this, all that. And this is the Communist Manifesto. This is a communist movement known as progressives now, using this stuff, utilizing these things, promoting racism, and using people like Antifa, which are communists and everything else, to specifically cause these riots and everything else, for civil chaos and everything. And they want the police to defund because their overall goal is to destroy this country emphatically. You know what I mean? And so they could the problem, reaction, solution, bring in their order, the socialist utopia of complete communism, and that's what they've been working for since Albert Pike, even before him back in the 1700s. And you've seen all these, the 10-part plan for the Communist Manifesto and all these things. Everything that's in those manifestos is coming true now and being pushed now by far-left socialist Democrats.
Yeah, and I've seen all sorts of people talking about that same thing. And where do we go with it? If you really are trying to get justice for George Floyd, then why are you creating such hysteria and chaos? How could you commit a crime against another black citizen when you're mad that a black citizen had a crime and injustice made against him? That's astonishing to me. And another one of my favorite quotes from Martin Luther King, and I'm paraphrasing, but this is very close. We all have a moral obligation to obey just laws. Conversely, we each have a moral and legal responsibility to disobey unjust laws. And this is another thing we train our police in. We train our police not to enforce unjust laws. The essence of tyranny is the enforcement of stupid laws.
Yep.
And I talked this past week on the phone with Shelley Luther. She was the one that owned her beauty salon in Dallas, Texas, and she was arrested. And I compared her to be a modern-day Rosa Parks. Yeah, they're different colors, but they're the same because they're American women standing for what's right, standing for their individual rights, standing for their personal liberty, standing for their pursuit of happiness. And that's exactly what Rosa Parks did back in 1955. And now we have, 65 years later, Shelley Luther doing the same. And a black judge put her in jail for a week. And then the Attorney General of Texas ordered her release just after 2 days. Well, Shelley Luther is a hero of mine.
Yeah.
Rosa Parks was a hero of mine. I don't care what color either one of them are. I could not care less what color they are. They both did the right thing. Absolutely.
Now, switching gears a tiny bit, you got these talking heads. You could tell where their agendas are at. They're telling people, talking heads in the education system and some in the media, so, slide it in there. Oh, if you really look at the Constitution, it's not for black people. So it's a way to say we need to abolish the Constitution and get that support to do so. And so we both know that's not true, because how many black people, especially Martin Luther King, incited, his constitutional rights to defend himself and push things. So to say that Constitution is not for black people, people need to pick up a history book and learn otherwise. And your thoughts on that?
Yeah, well, I'll tell you what. One of the history books I picked up recently, and I teach history, is the prophecy, and I call it a prophecy, from Abraham Lincoln. And I'll quote him word for word. America will never be destroyed by an outside enemy. If we falter and lose our freedoms, it will be because we destroyed ourselves. End quote. That is exactly what we're doing.
That's
and
good.
what
Cool.
scares me about all this shutdown, lockdown, quarantining of innocent and healthy people, and shutting down and destroying our economy, destroying the rights of the individuals to run their lives and run their businesses and own and control their own property. That really scares me that we could do that, and this is absolutely contrary to anything our founding fathers established. And if you destroy our Constitution, you destroy America, and that seems to be the agenda here.
Yep.
Destroy the Constitution, and what did they told us? What did Barack Obama tell us? Fundamentally change America. And this change now is happening so fast, he doesn't seem to be at all concerned about it. And I'll ask everybody this. How many blacks were murdered during the 8 years that Barack Obama was president? Did he get blamed for any of them?
Nope.
How many mass shootings were there under Barack Obama administration? Did he get blamed for any of them? Did he really get into the projects and into inner cities and change the attitude of minority groups? Did he change inner city violence? Did he do anything about that? Did he do anything about unemployment for minority groups? And the answer is obvious. And then President Trump comes in and changes all of that and really gets people back to work, including all minority groups.
Yep.
And
Lowest
now,
unemployment rate for blacks in history.
somebody's trying to destroy all that.
Yep, yeah, the lowest unemployment rate for blacks in history. And, even during Obama's time, it was skyrocketed. And that's where BLM came out of, during Obama's administration. People forget that. The Black Lives Matter formed out of his administration. Antifa formed out of his administration. These hate crimes and race wars have been going on during that time, and all these new groups popped up, and people forget that, and somehow they blame Trump when Trump made, again, the black unemployment rate the lowest in history. Putting the black folks into college and everything else, and but people quickly forget about that.
Yeah, it's sad how, and it really looks like this. I don't know this for a fact, but this is what it looks like. Anybody who disagrees with the left position, and anybody who speaks out against the left, that seems to be what they're trying to stop.
Yep.
And the left, especially the radical Democrats, they want a monopoly on our government. They want a monopoly on control. And you don't have to look very far to see the blue states that are run by Democrats in the blue cities, Los Angeles, San Francisco, Chicago, Miami, Houston, Dallas, San Antonio, Austin, and you can go on and on. 98% of the cities that are having so much trouble, New York City, of course, they got a communist running their city, and compare de Blasio's administration to that of Rudy Giuliani.
Yep.
And I'm telling you right now, I'm not a big fan of the Republicans.
Same here.
Because party politics is destroying our country.
Yep.
And both of them are equally irresponsible
Absolutely.
for the horrible things going on in this country. But right now, you have to look at it that the horrible condition of the major cities in this country have been run by Democrats for a long time.
And look at all the chaos. It's all right now Democratic cities. The highest crime murder rates in the country. Democratic-run cities and states. And and again, I'm the same way. I'm an independent constitutionalist, man. But you could clearly see. I mean, the stats tell the story. You're 100% right.
And the horrible, stupid arrests that they make, and arresting people for mere possession of a handgun. And that's what I thought maybe they were after. Oh, wow, we're after just, what are we after? Well, we'll let people just that keep and bear arms, we'll let them defend themselves and shoot back at people who are breaking in their home. No, that's not what they're after. I'm telling you, when they first said, let's get rid of police departments, I said, oh yeah, everybody can form their own militia and be armed and protect yourselves in your own neighborhood. That's not what they're after either.
Nope. And they want to disarm us too at the same time, and it's nuts. And like, so what's next? I mean, like, we could turn this into a Baghdad or something. I don't know. It's crazy. We got a few minutes left.
To have them, to give them that kind of power through the national media.
Yes.
And boy, that's another one. But,
and we got a few minutes left, so if you want to touch on the media real quick, I got to stand by Trump 100% with this when he says the media are the enemy of the people, because, again, they picked this one story out of how many people have been shot and killed lately. They picked this one story because they knew, and, rightfully so, it was bad, this situation, but they threw this through the roof because they knew it was going to create a race war.
Yeah, and they call themselves African Americans or Afro Americans.
Mm-hmm.
Most of them have never been to Africa, and if they did, they would see where tribes kill each other exponentially there. And who's trying to stop that? Who's stopping the carnage of Africans and the horrible things going on in Africa among African nations and African leaders who are very ruthless and cruel and murderous towards their own people? Who's stopping that? And so I'm telling you, everything just keeps coming up zeros on this when you look at it and say, what's really going on? Do these people really care about justice, or do they just care about attacking Trump?
Exactly. And, I like how, I don't know if you heard the national news, how a donut shop here in North Kingston, Rhode Island, decided on D-Day, the 76th anniversary of D-Day, to cut the discounts of police and military, but we got a couple minutes left here. So how did the military get dragged into this, the veterans? I don't understand.
Well, I think it was because of the inaction of some mayors and governors to take control of the rioters.
Yeah.
And that's why the president started talking about it. And there's some problems with that, but ultimately, I'm in favor of stopping the violence. If it's my home and my business, I would love the president to come save me.
Yes.
And the military. But, the Posse Comitatus Act of, I think, 1887 said you can't use military for domestic reasons.
Yeah.
But the thing of it is, the ultimate goal here, no matter what we use, is liberty and the protection of life. And so if President John F. Kennedy sent the military in to make sure that the black students got into University of Alabama against Governor Wallace back in the early 60s. And you know what? Some people said he didn't have any right to do that. That violates state sovereignty. I said, no, it does not violate state sovereignty. They can't hide behind state sovereignty while they're committing an act of injustice and violating the principle of equality for all and equal protection under the law.
Exactly.
And so,
I don't mean to cut you off. We got like 30 seconds left.
Okay,
I'm
good.
sorry. But so how could people reach you? And I got to get back on because it's good stuff here. And there's a lot of information.
I
for
haven't
me.
ever spoken Rhode Island. It's one of 4 states I haven't, so we need to do that.
Oh, definitely. I'll help you out with that, man. And, thank you, Sheriff. And,
PSPOA.org
Thank you, Sheriff.
Peace officers.
Awesome.
Love you, man. Thanks,
Love you
man.
too. God bless you, brother. Stay safe.
Bye.
And guys, before we go, I want to close out real quick here because we need unity. All my black, whites, Hispanics, so on brothers out there, check this out, right? Our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ says this in Galatians chapter 3, verse 28. He says, there is neither Jew or Greek, there is neither slave or free, there is no male or female, for all of you are one in Jesus Christ. We are all created, so God created man in his own image. In the image of God, he created him, male and female, he created them. That's Genesis 1:27. So this is Dan Bidondi, and thank you, Sheriff Richard Mack. Check him out, guys, cspa.org. We'll post the links. God bless, see you soon, and you are the resistance. Declaring war on the New World Order, TruthRadioShow.com.